Welcome, curious minds, to the deep dive. Look around you or just open a news app and you'll immediately confront this constant swirling tempest of information. Global events, groundbreaking scientific breakthroughs, complex economic shifts. It's a lot, isn't it? And honestly, for anyone trying to stay truly informed, it can feel like trying to drink from a fire hose. That's why we're here. Today, we're taking a deep, concentrated plunge into that ocean of news. Our mission, as always, is to give you that shortcut to being truly well-informed. Sifting through a diverse stack of sources from the latest in scientific research and shifting geopolitical landscapes to, well, complex economic maneuvers and the very human stories behind every headline. We're going to extract the most crucial insights, highlight some truly surprising facts, and maybe most importantly, connect the dots you might not have even noticed were there. Think of it as your curated guide to understanding the pulse of our rapidly changing world.
Indeed, and what a fascinating collection of sources we have today. It's not just the breadth, but the unexpected depth we find when we connect these seemingly disparate dots. That's when you really get the pulse of global change. We'll be moving from the microscopic resilience of coral, believe it or not, to the macroscopic shifts in global power, and then bringing it right down to the deeply personal impact of climate and conflict on communities around the world.
Absolutely. And when I say we're covering a global mosaic, I really mean it. We're going to journey from the depths of our oceans, uncovering ancient human history, all the way to the cutting edge of artificial intelligence in medicine. It's quite the range. We'll navigate the ongoing pulse of global conflicts and then bring it right back home, to the very real, very human impacts of a changing climate on communities around the world. So let's unpack this mountain of information we've got today because it truly offers a rich tapestry of our current global state. Let's start with a stark reality check from Bangladesh. Climate change isn't some future threat there. It's a present, pretty devastating reality. We often talk about climate change in abstract terms, right? Statistics, models, but here it's a story of immediate, severe human impact. We're looking at a severe heat wave with temperatures absolutely soaring beyond 40 degrees Celsius. That's over 104 degrees Fahrenheit for context. And this isn't just uncomfortable, it's a significant public health crisis, especially for its incredibly vulnerable populations.
Exactly. What's happening in Bangladesh is a tragic illustration of how these environmental shifts translate directly into profound human suffering and significant economic strain, too. Consider the story of Padita Begum. She's a 37-year-old mother from Dhaka, the capital city of Bangladesh. She's grappling with her 2-year-old son's pneumonia, and she attributes his illness directly to the extreme heat and relentless humidity. Across the country, medical professionals are witnessing a sharp rise in hospital admissions, mostly for dehydration, heat stroke, and other illnesses just exacerbated by the oppressive heat. It's a clear signal that the public health infrastructure is being pushed, really pushed to its breaking point.
And it's not just the direct heat causing these illnesses, right? That's what's interesting. Doctors are also reporting a worrying spike in dengue fever cases. That's a mosquito-borne illness. Why this surge? Because these extreme temperatures, coupled with the high humidity, create absolutely optimal breeding conditions for the Aedes mosquitoes, the ones that carry the disease. So one climate impact leads directly to another, compounding the crisis. It's like a cascading effect, where each environmental stressor triggers a new public health nightmare.
Precisely. And the ripple effects extend far beyond health. Families are facing increased medical expenses, which strain already tight budgets. I mean, many people live paycheck to paycheck in Bangladesh. On top of that, the cost of electricity for cooling has risen dramatically, as have transportation expenses as people try to escape the heat or maybe get to medical facilities. And this creates a stark and deeply unfair disparity. Wealthier individuals can afford air conditioning, they can access cooler environments, maybe climate-controlled transport. But low-income communities, they're left to bear the brutal brunt of this heat stress with little to no recourse, often trapped in homes that offer no escape. It's a real equity issue.
Yeah, it's a heartbreaking illustration of how climate change isn't just about, polar bears or abstract environmental things. It's about real people struggling to breathe, stay healthy, and afford basic care. And the reports are quite clear. The frequency of extreme heat days in Bangladesh has nearly doubled in the last 30 years. That's a stark, undeniable trend, and it's directly linked to the broader pattern of climate change. It essentially turns Bangladesh into an early warning system for the rest of the world, doesn't it?
It really does. What's particularly noteworthy here, I think, is how multiple stressors, environmental, economic, and public health converge. They create a crisis that demands a multifaceted response, not just a single solution. Bangladesh serves as a stark early warning system, showing how interconnected these crises rapidly compound. It reveals the urgent need for integrated adaptation strategies globally, not just, piecemeal solutions. Experts are urgently calling for the government there to develop comprehensive strategies, improving infrastructure, strengthening health systems, and implementing policies that build resilience in these incredibly vulnerable areas. It's about adapting to a new, harsher normal while simultaneously working to mitigate further change on a global scale.
Right. From the sweltering, life-threatening heat of Bangladesh, let's shift our gaze. We're going to the cool northeastern coast of the United States, specifically to the Passamaquoddy Tribe on the Sepang Peninsula in Maine. They're facing their own unique set of severe challenges from climate change. We're talking rising sea levels, threats to fresh water quality, and significant habitat loss across their ancestral lands.
This indigenous community has an acute, deeply felt awareness of its vulnerability. I mean, they're living in an environment that is being steadily encroached upon by the ocean. We're talking about ocean water flooding critical marshes, threatening essential infrastructure like their wastewater treatment facility, and even their homes. It's not a theoretical problem for them, it's a stark, daily confrontation with ecological change that impacts every aspect of their lives. And the sea level rise projections for this region are particularly concerning. They're looking at significant challenges ahead.
And it's not just physical infrastructure or land that's at risk. Their historical and cultural reliance on the seas for sustenance, which has defined their community for millennia, is now being directly undermined. Rising ocean temperatures and shifting storm patterns, all direct consequences of the climate crisis, have led to significantly diminished fish populations. We've seen notable declines in traditional fishery yields. Significant drops in lobster and clam harvest just in the last decade alone. This isn't just about food security. It's a profound threat to their very cultural identity, their way of life, and their intergenerational knowledge passed down through harvesting these resources.
Absolutely. And in response to these pressing issues, the Passamaquoddy Tribe has initiated a truly comprehensive climate resilience strategy. They've been remarkably successful in securing significant federal grants to invest in adaptive infrastructure and community initiatives. They've established the Sepang Resilience Committee, which is dedicated to planning and taking proactive action against climate impacts. And what's truly remarkable is their holistic resilience basket approach. This isn't just about physical defenses. It intricately weaves together food and energy security, safe housing, and cultural preservation. It really demonstrates how deeply interconnected these elements are in confronting complex climate challenges.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting and, frankly, inspiring. This isn't just a grim forecast. It's a powerful story of incredible human spirit and profound adaptation. Future projections for the region are alarming, yes. Sea levels potentially rising up to 3.9 feet by 2100 if current trends persist. That kind of shift would put substantial portions of their reservation underwater. It's forcing discussions about something called managed retreat. That's the strategic relocation of communities or infrastructure away from areas at high risk from environmental hazards. Can you imagine the logistical, emotional, and cultural dilemma moving an entire community with millennia-long ties to their sacred land? It would be an unprecedented challenge for any society.
And this raises an important question, doesn't it? How can traditional ecological knowledge, which is deeply embedded in communities like the Passamaquoddy, inform broader climate adaptation strategies globally? Their ingenuity is evident in their community-driven projects, which stand as a testament to practical resilience. They're raising the elevation of their wastewater treatment facilities, replacing aging infrastructure, and carefully relocating other critical facilities above projected flood zones. Smart moves. They've established robust climbing gardens to ensure food sovereignty and are actively restoring native fish populations to rebuild crucial ecological balances. These are practical, community-led solutions that offer vital lessons for all of us, I think. Their determination, rooted in a rich cultural heritage and a deep understanding of their environment, serves as a powerful reminder. It reminds us of the essential intersection between environmental necessity and cultural continuity. It really suggests that top-down solutions alone are insufficient without that local wisdom.
From the pressing concerns of climate adaptation in modern communities, let's dive, quite literally, into another urgent front of climate impact: underwater archaeology. This field is experiencing an unprecedented race against time. It's driven simultaneously by the accelerating pace of climate change and, on the flip side, incredible technological advancements. Researchers are scrambling to uncover the secrets of ancient submerged civilizations, because rising sea levels are quite literally threatening to erase these invaluable archaeological sites forever.
It's a compelling and urgent race, indeed. And these aren't just mere ruins we're talking about. They are irreplaceable windows into early human development, trade routes, complex societal organization, our history. We're seeing intense efforts in notable locations like the Mediterranean Sea and the North Sea. Areas which were once dry land bridges or coastal plains, hard to imagine now. Specific sites such as Atlit Yam in Israel offer incredible glimpses into Stone Age life. They found remarkably preserved tools, remnants of ancient dwellings, even human skeletons that paint a vivid picture of prehistoric communities thriving some 9,000 years ago. Similarly, the ancient city of Heraklion submerged off the coast of Egypt. It showcases remarkably complex urban planning and extensive trade networks that thrived millennia ago before being swallowed by the sea. It's just fascinating.
These sites offer invaluable insights into our shared human story. But the challenges to studying and preserving them are immense, right? Rising ocean temperatures, increasing storm activity, accelerating ocean acidification, all of it jeopardizes artifact preservation. It just makes the task even more urgent. However, the good news is that technology is also advancing rapidly, almost in parallel with the threats. We're seeing incredible developments in advanced diving technologies, sophisticated underwater drones, high-resolution sonar mapping, remotely operated vehicles, or ROVs, and even ancient DNA analysis for biological materials. That can tell us about ancient diets and ecosystems. It's like something straight out of a science fiction movie, bringing our deep past to life in ways we never thought possible.
Absolutely. And while these technological advancements are revolutionary, allowing us to explore depths and terrains previously inaccessible, the high cost often limits their availability for all research teams. It creates kind of disparity in what can be achieved globally. This emphasizes the critical necessity of interdisciplinary collaboration. You really need teams. Marine ecologists, climate scientists, geophysicists are now working hand in hand with archaeologists. They're trying to gain a truly holistic understanding of human adaptation to long-term environmental change. This collaborative effort helps connect past environmental shifts to present-day climate models, offering vital context.
So what does this all mean for us, the listeners? What's the takeaway here? It means that our ancient past is literally washing away before our eyes, and it holds crucial clues to our future. These ancient stories remind us of the fragility of human existence and offer crucial warnings for our future regarding rising sea levels and the pace of environmental change. They also underscore the critical role of legislation and protective measures for safeguarding underwater cultural heritage, which often clashes with powerful commercial interests like fishing, shipping, even offshore energy development. It's a complex ethical, economic, and practical challenge that requires a global approach.
Absolutely. The lessons from these submerged worlds about human adaptation to profound environmental shifts are invaluable for our present and future.
Yeah.
They tell us that humanity has always had to adapt, but perhaps never at the scale or speed we're seeing now.
Right. Staying in the realm of precious and endangered ecosystems, let's talk about our coral reefs. Specifically, new research concerning their resilience, or maybe lack thereof. The Atlantic Oceanographic and Meteorological Laboratory, that's AOML, and the University of Miami have yielded significant findings. They looked at staghorn coral, or Acropora cervicornis scientifically. This particular coral species is already listed under the United States Endangered Species Act, which highlights its precarious status globally.
Yeah, and what's fundamentally altered by this research is the core finding. While corals demonstrate a remarkable ability to tolerate single stressors, say nitrogen enrichment or a specific disease due to their intrinsic adaptive mechanisms, the combination of multiple stressors dramatically diminishes their resilience. It doesn't just reduce it, it leads to a pronounced decline in their health and a significantly heightened mortality risk. It's not an arithmetic problem of 1 + 1 = 2. It's more like an exponential challenge where the combined effect is far worse than the sum of its parts.
So it's not just one thing attacking them, but the cumulative synergistic effect of multiple environmental assaults that's truly devastating. And what were these specific stressors the study highlighted?
The study specifically highlighted nutrient loading, which often comes from agricultural runoff from land-based activities, things like fertilizers washing into the sea, and various pathogens that cause diseases in corals. These are factors that are unfortunately increasing with human activity and, well, a changing climate. And the stakes couldn't be higher. Coral reefs are critical ecosystems. They provide vital habitat for diverse marine life, supporting entire food webs, and they act as natural barriers against coastal erosion, protecting coastlines from storm surges. So their decline has profound ecological, economic, and even social consequences for coastal communities worldwide.
The research used a carefully controlled experimental setup, right? They exposed different coral genotypes to elevated nitrogen levels for 6 weeks.
And while they found that the corals could cope with that single stressor alone, the moment they added pathogens into the mix, the coral's health just plummeted dramatically. This really changes how we think about conservation, doesn't it? It suggests that our current conservation strategies might be too focused on single-issue problems.
Indeed. If we connect this to the bigger picture, this research fundamentally alters our forecast for coral resilience under future climatic scenarios. It demands more holistic policy responses. The implications for conservation are clear. We need integrated approaches that go far beyond single-issue solutions. Our linear approach to conservation might be failing in a nonlinear world. Only integrated ecosystem management stands a chance against compounding climate threats. This connects to broader climate change impacts, as fluctuations in precipitation and temperature can influence nutrient dynamics and pathogen prevalence. That just exacerbates these pressures on already stressed coral systems. From a policy perspective, it emphatically highlights the importance of reducing nutrient loads from terrestrial sources and effectively managing disease prevalence as part of comprehensive marine strategies to safeguard these vital ecosystems.
Okay, let's shift gears now to the complexities of geopolitics, starting with a significant escalation in Yemen. The Iran-backed Houthis have confirmed the death of their prime minister and other officials in an Israeli airstrike in Sana'a, the capital of Yemen. This happened earlier this week, and it's already being described as a major escalation in the ongoing, multifaceted conflict there.
This is a truly significant development, yes. It could have widespread repercussions. The Houthis have immediately accused Israel of attempting to deliberately alter the balance of power in the region through these strikes. This incident starkly highlights the already fragile security situation in Yemen. Government authority remains highly contested, and foreign involvement from various regional and international actors continues to profoundly complicate any path to peace. It's a deeply entrenched proxy battle with just devastating humanitarian consequences.
And when you have such a high-profile target like a prime minister, what are the sort of less obvious secondary ripple effects of such a strike that we should be aware of? Beyond the immediate reaction, I mean.
Well, it almost certainly anticipates further retaliatory actions from the Houthis, which will only add to the already volatile environment in the Middle East. Beyond that, it signals a potential shift in the rules of engagement, or maybe the targets considered acceptable, which could draw in other regional players more directly. Regional stakeholders are watching very closely, recognizing the broader implications of this escalation on security and politics in this war-torn nation. The immediate accusation of a deliberate attempt to shift regional power dynamics is particularly potent, because it can quickly destabilize an already critical area and invite broader intervention or counter-responses.
Right, and our attention must also turn to the devastating crisis unfolding in Gaza. The Israeli military has intensified its bombardment of Gaza City, effectively turning it into a declared combat zone. Their stated aim is to seize control and, in the process, forcibly relocate approximately 1 million residents from the northern parts of the Strip.
The humanitarian crisis here is truly dire and continues to worsen. It's hard to overstate. Hundreds of thousands of Palestinian families are fleeing their homes, often multiple times, forced into makeshift tents or severely overcrowded shelters, under unimaginable and frankly unsanitary conditions. The anguish is profound. We hear displaced individuals like Mohammed Maruf expressing deep despair, lamenting the inadequate support from humanitarian organizations and likening their treatment to that of animals. It's heartbreaking. The Israeli offensive, which began in early August, has seen a deadly resurgence of violence, significant casualties, widespread demolition of homes and community centers, and the exacerbation of starvation and illness among the population. Access to basic necessities like food, water, and medical care is critically limited.
It's clear that the images and stories coming out of Gaza are truly heartbreaking. And the international response seems to be at a critical juncture, really struggling to find an effective path forward. The International Committee of the Red Cross, the ICRC, has raised serious concerns. They called Israel's plans for mass evacuation unfeasible and incomprehensible under the current conditions of siege and destruction. We're also hearing strong criticism from some international analysts and human rights organizations. They suggest that the ongoing military campaign, with its displacement of civilians and destruction of infrastructure, represents a form of ethnic cleansing. That's a term often used to describe the forcible removal of an ethnic group from a territory. All of this unfolds while Israel continues to receive extensive military aid from the United States.
And this raises an important question. How does the concept of international law apply when humanitarian aid is actively being obstructed? And who bears the ultimate responsibility? The persistent obstruction of aid and these calls of ethnic cleansing in Gaza force us to confront a critical question. Is the existing international legal framework equipped to protect civilians in modern conflict? Or do we face a new era where such laws are increasingly rendered symbolic? Even figures like Greta Thunberg, the renowned Swedish environmental activist, have weighed in. Criticizing the necessity of aid flotillas to Gaza, she plans to join the global Sumud flotilla from Barcelona, aiming for a humanitarian corridor. She emphasized that such flotillas would be redundant if governments simply complied with international law and prevented war crimes. She views the failure to do so as a betrayal not just of Palestinians, but of humanity at large. The United Nations has declared that famine conditions exist due to the Israeli blockade, and pressure continues to mount on Israel to cease its offensive amid numerous civilian casualties and multiple displacements.
Shifting slightly within the region, let's consider the ongoing plight of West Bank farmers, particularly ahead of the critical olive harvest season. In the Palestinian village of Kufr Kadum, farmers like Yusuf are struggling immensely. Their access to vital olive trees, which are central to their livelihood and heritage, is being increasingly restricted by Israeli forces and settlers.
The olive harvest, which traditionally runs from September to November, is not just an agricultural activity. It's a critical period for thousands of Palestinian families. Many rely on it as their primary economic lifeline and a cornerstone of their cultural identity. This year, the reality is particularly grim, with settler violence escalating to unprecedented levels in at least 2 decades. The United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization, the FAO, has been actively working to aid these farmers, focusing on enhancing their access to land and water and promoting sustainable practices. However, these crucial efforts are severely hampered by the ongoing conflict and restrictive access policies.
We're talking about tens of thousands of dunams. A dunam is a unit of land area, roughly a quarter acre of farmland, that are completely inaccessible to Palestinians. Farmers have reported being denied access for years, a situation exacerbated by state policies and, as the UN Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs, or OCHA, has noted, an alarming increase in settler attacks. Yusuf, for example, his family owns 300 dunams near the Israeli Kadumim settlement. He hasn't been able to access his land since escalations began after a Hamas attack in 2023. Another farmer, Mohammed, is cut off from over 3,000 dunams. The economic distress and displacement caused by this are devastating, impacting generations of families, and undermining the very foundation of their communities. It's a heartbreaking illustration of how geopolitical conflict directly assaults the very fabric of daily lives and cultural survival.
It really showcases a direct link between geopolitical conflict and immediate economic devastation for a civilian population. It emphasizes the why it matters in very human terms. The International Court of Justice, the ICJ, has previously declared Israel's presence in the occupied Palestinian territory unlawful. Yet, Israeli policies appear to facilitate the displacement of the Palestinian population and their economic strangulation. Despite these immense challenges, the FAO remains committed to supporting olive cultivation, recognizing its importance not just for livelihoods, but for cultural heritage and resilience. Calls for international assistance and discussions at the UN Human Rights Council continue, but the reality on the ground for these farmers remains incredibly complex and challenging. It highlights a persistent failure, really, to protect civilian economic rights during conflict.
Moving to another significant global flashpoint, let's talk about India's intricate diplomatic dance. Prime Minister Narendra Modi engaged in a phone conversation with Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky, which is notable because it immediately preceded a scheduled meeting with Russian President Vladimir Putin.
This sequence of events strongly reflects India's unique diplomatic position and its persistent efforts to play a mediating role, or at least attempt to, in the Russia-Ukraine conflict. It underscores the escalating regional tensions and the critical importance of international dialogue in trying to de-escalate such situations. Modi's outreach to Zelensky highlights India's concern over the humanitarian and geopolitical ramifications of the conflict, as well as its commitment to maintaining open communication with key global leaders across all sides of the conflict. It's a very pragmatic approach to foreign policy.
So India is playing a diplomatic tightrope walk, talking to both sides. It's a tricky balancing act, especially given their traditional neutral stance and historical ties with both nations. What are the potential broader implications for India's foreign policy and its role on the global stage?
Well, it raises an important question, doesn't it? What is the true capacity for a neutral nation to mediate in such a deeply entrenched conflict? And what are the incentives for all parties involved to actually listen? India's approach could set a precedent for how non-aligned powers navigate and potentially influence major global conflicts, perhaps fostering pathways towards diplomatic resolution where others have struggled. By maintaining lines of communication with all parties, India positions itself as a potential bridge builder, even if progress is slow and difficult. And its economic and demographic weight also lends credibility to its diplomatic overtures, you have to say.
Speaking of the Russia-Ukraine conflict, we have an update from Russia's Chief of the General Staff, General Valery Gerasimov. He recently reported significant advances for Russian forces in Ukraine, claiming control over 3,500 square kilometers and 149 settlements gained since March.
Yes, General Gerasimov highlighted that Russian forces have made progress across nearly the entire front. He detailed specific percentages of control, stating that 99.7% of the Lugansk People's Republic, 79% of the Donetsk People's Republic, 74% of the Zaporozhye region, and 76% of the Kherson region are now, according to Russia, under their control. These are, of course, the areas that voted to join Russia in referendums held in September 2022. Referendums that were not internationally recognized by many nations, it should be noted. Additionally, Moscow's stated aim is to create security zones along its border in Ukraine's Sumy and Kharkov regions, essentially establishing a buffer zone after repelling what they describe as incursions from Ukraine.
He also detailed ongoing military operations, including targeted strikes against Ukraine's military capabilities, specifically aiming to eliminate facilities linked to missile production. He mentioned the Sapsan missile system, which Russia alleges was intended for strikes deep within Russian territory. These attacks, Gerasimov stated, were coordinated with the Federal Security Service, or FSB, Russia's primary security agency, and reportedly disrupted Ukraine's military plans significantly.
What's fascinating here is the detailing of specific military objectives and the stated intent behind these operations. It provides insight into Russia's strategic priorities, or at least their stated priorities. It's important to consider this information as Russia's official narrative of the conflict, as reported by outlets like RT. It offers their perspective on the strategic implications of these territorial gains and the establishment of these buffer zones. Understanding these stated objectives is crucial for analyzing the conflict's direction and potential future escalations. #tag technology, economy, and domestic political currents.
Okay, let's transition to the exciting world of technology and its profound impact on our health, specifically our understanding of genetic predispositions. Scientists at Mount Sinai have made some incredible strides. They've developed an innovative artificial intelligence, AI, system that predicts the potential impact of rare genetic mutations on disease development.
This is a significant leap forward in personalized medicine, really. This AI system leverages sophisticated machine learning algorithms combined with extensive real-world datasets. We're talking millions of electronic health records and standard laboratory tests, real patient data. It introduces a new metric called ML penetrance scores. Now, penetrance in genetics refers to the likelihood that a particular gene will express its associated phenotype or traits in an individual. So these ML penetrance scores move us far beyond the traditional binary classifications, harmful or benign, to a much more nuanced understanding of how likely a mutation is to cause disease in a real-world context.
So it's really a paradigm shift, isn't it? This means that certain mutations, once feared to have serious implications, might now be reassessed, based on this new data, as having a negligible influence, which is huge for patients. Conversely, genetic variants that were previously classified as uncertain, leaving patients in a terrifying limbo, can now be reevaluated and reveal a strong correlation to disease onset. That's a game changer for individual patients, offering clarity where there was only ambiguity.
Absolutely. This advancement is crucial for tailored patient care. It aids healthcare providers in making much more informed decisions regarding genetic testing, preventative measures, and personalized patient management. It has the potential to dramatically improve diagnostic accuracy and treatment efficacy for a wide range of diseases, from various forms of cancer to complex genetic disorders. This effort aligns perfectly with ongoing global initiatives aimed at enhancing genetic literacy and ensuring more equitable and effective resource allocation within healthcare systems. But it also raises an important question, doesn't it, about the ethical frameworks and regulatory oversight needed, especially as AI increasingly plays a direct and determinative role in medical diagnostics and personalized treatment plans. Things like patient consent and data privacy become even more critical.
That's truly fascinating. We're talking about AI literally changing how we understand our own bodies and our future health. That's a profound, game-changing development for humanity. Okay, from our bodies to our morning cup of coffee, let's talk about corporate consolidation. Keurig Dr. Pepper has announced the acquisition of JDE Peet's, a major Dutch coffee and tea company, for a whopping $18.4 billion.
Yes, this marks a truly significant strategic move and a substantial financial commitment. It's set to profoundly transform the competitive landscape of the global coffee market. Companies are increasingly seeking to expand their market reach and diversify their product offerings, especially amid rising operational costs, inflationary pressures, and global market challenges. It's a tough environment. Following the acquisition, Keurig Dr. Pepper intends to separate its beverage and coffee businesses into two distinct, publicly traded entities. The idea is to enhance operational agility and allow each segment to focus more acutely on its respective market. The merged coffee company will leverage JDE Peet's robust portfolio, which includes renowned brands like Dow, Egberts, and Peet's Coffee here in the U.S., as it faces the formidable challenge of competing against industry giants like Nestle.
So the big's getting bigger trend continues. Your morning coffee just got a whole lot more consolidated, whether it's a K-Cup or a Peet's Brew. This deal will certainly reshape the future dynamics of the coffee industry, impacting everything from pricing to product availability, you'd imagine.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, this trend in mergers and acquisitions signals how large corporations are positioning themselves. Positioning for long-term stability and dominance in an increasingly unpredictable economic environment. It's about optimizing resources, leveraging economies of scale, and expanding market share to counteract market volatility and potential recession risks. It's really a strategic play for resilience in a turbulent global economy.
Now let's turn our attention to domestic political currents in the United States. A federal appellate court has upheld a ruling that strikes down the majority of President Trump's tariffs, declaring them illegal. This is a significant legal development with potentially wide-ranging implications.
Yes, this decision represents a significant setback for the trade policies put in place during the Trump administration. It's creating a degree of uncertainty and confusion among U.S. trading partners regarding tariff enforcement and broader trade regulations, as many of these tariffs have been in place for several years now. The ruling affects a wide range of goods and highlights the ongoing legal challenges surrounding trade practices established in recent years, particularly those implemented via executive action rather than through Congress.
So this emphasizes the shifting environment in U.S. trade policy and the continuous legal scrutiny of executive economic actions. The courts are clearly playing a crucial role here, defining presidential power, especially in areas with such direct economic impact.
What's fascinating here is precisely the judiciary's role in delineating the boundaries of executive power, particularly in an area as impactful as international trade policy. This decision could have significant implications not only for global trade relations and the businesses affected by these tariffs, but certainly for the trade strategies of future administrations, setting a precedent for how far a president can go in imposing trade barriers without explicit congressional approval.
Moving south to Argentina. President Javier Milei and his team were attacked with rocks thrown at their vehicle. This happened while campaigning in Lomas de Zamora, a suburb of Buenos Aires, just days before crucial local elections. Fortunately, no serious injuries were reported, but it certainly underscores the political volatility there.
Yeah, this attack occurred amid mounting corruption allegations against Karina Milei, the president's sister and general secretary. She's accused of being central to a kickback scandal involving health services. It vividly reflects an incredibly tense political climate and heightened discontent in these economically struggling Buenos Aires suburbs, where the recent economic downturn and President Milei's quite severe austerity measures have fueled widespread public anger and frustration. The incident is a physical manifestation of deeper societal divisions, really.
President Milei has been actively framing the upcoming election as a definitive fight against what he calls the dominant justicialist party, led by former President Cristina Kirchner. He condemned the violence unequivocally, urging citizens to vote against Kirchnerism, painting it as a struggle against entrenched political corruption.
This incident really illustrates the heightened stakes and volatility in a country facing significant economic and political divides, which often leads to passionate, sometimes violent expressions of discontent. It highlights the political turbulence as Argentina approaches crucial elections. Elections that will be key indicators of its midterm political landscape, reflecting how deeply polarized the electorate has become over economic, direction, and political leadership. It's a stark reminder that political discourse can quickly turn into physical confrontation when emotions run high and economic pressures mount.
And back in the U.S., a rather telling incident, perhaps. U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi fired a Department of Justice employee for making an offensive gesture towards National Guard members stationed in Washington, D.C. It's a small act, relatively speaking, but it sent a very clear message.
Yes, the incident occurred as the employee was on her way to work and quickly drew significant public attention, especially given the visibility of the National Guard's presence in the capital for security missions. Attorney General Bondi responded swiftly on the social media platform X, emphasizing her unwavering commitment to maintaining a respectful and professional environment within the Department of Justice, particularly towards service members who are performing their duties.
It's a simple gesture, but, as you said, a big message from the Attorney General. It speaks volumes about the expectations for public servants and the standards of conduct demanded when representing a federal institution. This certainly sparks discussions about the treatment of National Guard personnel and the accountability of government employees, especially when military personnel are deployed for security missions in the capital or elsewhere. It underscores the broader conversation about respect for those in uniform.
This raises an important question, though. Where do we draw the line between individual expression and the professional conduct expected from those representing public institutions, particularly towards those in uniform? It highlights the ongoing dialogue about respect and appropriate conduct within federal service, especially in an era where such incidents can be instantly amplified through social media and draw immediate public scrutiny, demanding rapid accountability from leadership.
Okay, let's look up and out into space for a moment.
Yeah.
NASA, that's the National Aeronautics and Space Administration astronaut Megan McArthur, has officially retired. This is after a truly distinguished 20-year career that left a remarkable imprint on human space exploration.
Her career highlights are truly remarkable and, yes, trailblazing. She completed 2 challenging space flights and holds the distinction of being the first woman to pilot a SpaceX Dragon spacecraft. A pivotal role in the commercial space era, really. She also played a crucial role in the final servicing mission of the venerable Hubble Space Telescope, a mission that extended the life of one of humanity's most important scientific instruments. Her second flight saw her spend an impressive 200 days on the International Space Station, the ISS, aboard the SpaceX Crew 2 mission, where she conducted a wide array of scientific experiments aimed at advancing human exploration to the Moon and Mars.
An absolute legend. First woman to pilot a SpaceX Dragon. Wow. Talk about pushing boundaries. Beyond her flights, she held significant leadership roles, including Chief Science Officer at Space Center Houston, where she's been instrumental in promoting public engagement in space science and inspiring the next generation of explorers. Her impact on human space exploration and her role as an inspiration for future generations is truly significant, especially with the evolving role of astronauts and the increasing commercialization of spaceflight through private companies like SpaceX. It really highlights the blend of public and private enterprise propelling us further into the cosmos. Now, for a little bit of cosmic escapism right here on Earth, a new trailer for Jump Space just blasted off. It showcases dynamic interstellar battles and engaging gameplay. Its launch is set for September. Developed by Keepsake Games, it looks like it's going to deliver some intense action. Who doesn't love a good interstellar battle and the chance to escape to another galaxy for a bit?
The trailer highlights a rich narrative, a wide variety of combat scenarios, and emphasizes the sheer vastness of space. Detailed alien environments, formidable foes, looks impressive. Players can look forward to unlocking various abilities and technologies as they progress, all underscored by impressive visuals and a captivating soundtrack, apparently. It's certainly positioned to be a highlight in the gaming calendar for enthusiasts of cosmic combat and exploration. This kind of immersive, open-world space combat game often reflects a broader cultural fascination with space exploration and the potential for humanity's future among the stars, offering a virtual outlet for those aspirations. It also speaks to the ongoing innovation within indie game development, allowing smaller studios to create visually stunning and narratively rich experiences that can rival larger productions.
All right, let's bring it back to Earth, specifically to Hamburg, Germany, for a truly curious culinary innovation. Astra St. Pauli Brewery has launched Currydurst, a new beer that combines traditional beer with, wait for it, curry ketchup flavor.
Yes, Currydurst, which cleverly translates to curry thirst, is a unique tribute to Hamburg's rich street food culture, specifically the beloved currywurst, a staple fast food in the city. It's basically pork sausage with curry ketchup. The brewery partnered with Hella, a renowned German producer of spiced curry ketchup, to create this limited edition beer. It boasts a 6.5% alcohol content and a distinct, spicy, smoky taste characteristic of Hella's condiment, creating a truly unusual flavor profile. Only 2,000 liters are being brewed, making it a very exclusive taste experience for adventurous palates.
Beer and curry ketchup. My taste buds are equally intrigued and terrified by that combination. You got to give them points for creativity, though, right? It certainly challenges traditional taste perceptions, pushes the boundaries of what we expect from a brew.
Will it be a quirky novelty, or could it surprisingly become a new cult classic among craft beer enthusiasts? Hard to say. It definitely speaks to a fascinating regional culinary experimentation and the willingness of brands to fuse unexpected flavors in the pursuit of novelty and local identity.
Indeed, it's an interesting market test of how far cultural fusion can go in consumer products, and a playful nod to local heritage. Whether it's a fleeting trend or an enduring favorite will largely depend on consumer reactions to such an unconventional flavor profile. But it certainly gets people talking and maybe trying something new, which is often the goal of such limited edition releases.
And finally, for a splash of vibrant culture, the 58th annual West Indian American Day Carnival, themed Vive le Carnavalet, is returning to Brooklyn, New York, here in the United States, this Labor Day weekend.
This is a truly spectacular event. It sees hundreds of thousands of participants in incredibly colorful costumes, all celebrating Caribbean culture, music, and pride with an unparalleled energy. It's amazing to see. The main parade kicks off on Labor Day Monday, moving from Eastern Parkway to Grand Army Plaza. And it's famously preceded by the traditional Jouvert, which is a pre-dawn street party filled with paint, mud, and joyous revelry. The entire weekend is packed with events, including a soca festival showcasing Caribbean music, a junior carnival for the younger participants, and the ultimate fete, ensuring continuous celebration throughout the weekend.
And for such a massive event, security is always a top priority, naturally. To ensure everyone's safety and enjoyment, there will be extensive street closures across Brooklyn in what is typically the largest New York Police Department or NYPD deployment of the year. It's a truly incredible celebration of heritage, community, and the vibrant contributions of Caribbean culture to American society.
It absolutely is. This carnival highlights the significant demographic impact of Caribbean Americans in the U.S. We're talking approximately 4.6 million individuals with Caribbean roots, with strong representation from countries like Jamaica, Haiti, and Trinidad and Tobago, among others. It serves as a vibrant, living expression of this community's rich heritage, resilience, and ongoing contributions to the diverse tapestry of American society, solidifying its place as one of the largest and most influential cultural events in North America. #outro.
Wow, what an expansive journey we've taken today. From the microscopic resilience of coral in our oceans to the macroscopic shifts in global power dynamics, and the deeply personal impact of climate and conflict on communities around the world. It's quite a spectrum. Every day it's clear that from the depths of the ocean to the far reaches of space and right here on our planet, every day is a testament to both our challenges and our incredible capacity for adaptation and discovery.
And perhaps the greatest lesson from this deep dive is that understanding these interconnected threads is not just about being informed, right? It's about recognizing our collective responsibility in navigating a rapidly changing world. In an era where both our ancient past and our future health are being revealed and shaped by accelerating forces, be they climate change, technological innovation, or geopolitical conflicts, how do we as a global society balance the urgency of addressing immediate crises with the long-term vision required for true resilience and progress? It's a question that demands our continuous attention and collective action, and one that we must all grapple with, I think, as we move forward together.